For a lot of kids, it's the last week of school of 2023. For some, it's already holidays. And that's a little bit of context of where this video fits into the year. It's the 11th of December, 2023. I have a lot of thoughts on my mind. I might share some of them with you as this ride progresses. See if I can articulate the things that are swirling around inside. Heffron Park from a new approach, and it sort of provided a little visual stimulation on the way here of one of the topics on my mind. I just saw a guy just over there on the other side of that big sports centre, that big new sports centre, and he was bashing a tennis ball against the wall, and then when it bounced back, he was bashing it back at the wall. And I'm guessing, I didn't stop and watch, but I'm suggesting that he'd probably be doing that on rotation, on repeat. Tennis is great. I love it. It's a great game, and it's coming up to, really the peak of tennis season in Australia, with the Australian Open and a whole bunch of tournaments and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, maybe I should pull over for this one. Yeah, I will. Here. So instead of concentrating on dogs and pedestrians and seams in the road and other distractions, I'm going to get this story out of my head. I'm going to just sit there and I'll fill you in. So before my ride really gets underway, I'll just offload what's in the back of my mind. And it's this: I went to a tournament yesterday on a Sunday, and we were all quite looking forward to it. And when I was on the sideline, I heard some comments that went in, and then I promptly tried to ignore, and then they've been reverberating, echoing in the back of my thoughts for a little while. It related to the game that was being played. So it was a little tennis tournament in Sydney. It wasn't a professional one by any stretch of the imagination, but what I heard was, first of all, someone yelling out, "You've got to be mean to win." And then I saw the acknowledgement from the athlete and what may have been their coach, whatever, a supporter. You've got to be mean to win. And then I kept watching a little bit of the game, and then the next comment I heard from this coach / supporter / whatever, parent perhaps, was, "If you've got to hurt him to win, just do it." And I thought, that's bizarre. How can someone do that? For a little bit more context, this sporting event was an under-14s tennis tournament. My son was playing, and he loves his tennis. And he went in and he admitted to me, "Dad, I lost the first game because I just wasn't there. I should have been able to win that one, but I didn't." And then by the end, he was up against these, let's say, entitled kids. And they needed to win. And it didn't matter what they had to do to achieve that goal. If you've got to be mean to win, do it, they were told. If you've got to hurt him to win, do it, they were told. Honestly. And it wasn't just that it was my kid being subjected to these antics. It's just the whole premise of win at all costs, take away the enjoyment, pretend that you're a professional when you're 13 years old, and spoil the whole concept of what the whole game was about in the first place. Enjoyment, satisfaction, a little bit of pleasure on a Sunday. It bamboozles me, and I just can't get it out of my mind why someone would say that to a young kid who's playing another young kid. To hear these parents yelling these instructions to their children made me think, why would kids want to get involved in this? I don't want my kid to be mean to win. I don't want him to hurt people to win. If he wins on his merits, that's great. And if he loses because he's not good enough, that's fine by me too. I've seen competition at the highest level. I've seen stupid shenanigans, but I've also seen a lot of respect, and I hope that sport in the future shows a little bit more respect than what I saw yesterday. Yeah. Okay, that's my little intro to this ride. Let's see where it leads me. Thanks for listening. I'm a 53-year-old man and I love cycling. And I do it now for many reasons. And I very rarely call it training. I call it therapy. I call it exercise. I call it me time. I call it enjoyment. And I call it transport. And it's cycle sport that has given me a living for a long time, but I haven't raced for, well, over 20 years. And I don't see it happening again because I've often said, if someone wants to race me, they've already won, because I'm not interested in it. In doing it myself. I'm interested in racing, of course. But I do it out of habit, I said that already, and it's just been a big part of my life, and I'd love it to be a part of other people's lives, which is why I do what I do. It's so immensely different in 2023 to how cycling was in 1983 when I truly came to it, upon my return to Australia after a stint of living in Holland. And I don't mean for this video to be like a little autobiography of, you know, how I came to cycling, but it's turning out into a little bit of a summary of why I do what I do. And I think that there's merit in telling you about new bikes and new products and things that make you go faster or allow you to be more comfortable and blah, blah, blah. But I think there's also merit in just showcasing what you can get out of a few hours on the bicycle. And since I stopped travelling to bike races on a regular occasion, like when the pandemic hit and suddenly travel was limited, and then a habit that had been in place for 24 years came to an end, in other words, going to the Tour de France, I've ridden my bike a hell of a lot more, and I've gotten so much satisfaction from it. And one of those things is when people come up and tell me, "Hey Rob, I'm doing this because you showed me that it's possible, that there are places to ride in a town like Sydney where you don't have to feel threatened and you can feel like you're even exploring and having a good time while getting some exercise." You know, there's different ways that you can win from sport, and it doesn't involve hurting anyone. It involves encouragement and effort and, you know, just, I guess, the acquisition of skill or fitness that is in itself satisfying. You don't have to beat someone to recognise the benefits. This is a long meandering piece, but I'm just, you know, it's that reflection time in the year, and I'm just trying to articulate what it is that makes cycling special for me, and I'm interested to know what makes it special to you. been many a time over the last 25, 30 years where I've been so proud of the cycling community, the way that they've rallied together, the way that they've managed huge interruptions. And by that I'm talking about what affected me dramatically 25 years ago, and that was the real beginning of the true battle against doping, when Willie Voet was arrested and the Festina affair broke while I was in Dublin in 1998. And there's been plenty of such plenty of examples of similar levels of stupidity, of cheating and embarrassing circumstance, but that doesn't mean that I got bored of cycling. I've certainly been stressed because of it, because I've been trying to eke out a living by explaining my love for the sport and the activity. But and I'm certain that there's still cheating going on, like that's just human nature, but it doesn't have to be a win at all costs thing. I've referenced that already. And I think that the rewards that come from it are far greater than victory alone. I think I've referenced that already as well, but given that it's the 11th of December and there's a fortnight of, let's say, shopping is a feeling coming up, and the opportunity to, give someone the gift of a gift that is memorable and potentially life-changing, I would love to think that thoughts turn to the potential of buying a bike and introducing kids to cycling. And if you do, and if you haven't until now, get ready for the ride of your life. It's terrific. It's a great thing to do. I haven't done it for so long, and it hasn't become a habit because it's something that annoys me. There's so much more good than bad from riding a bike. And I just hope that you consider that when you go into the shops and you're looking at tennis rackets or bicycles or whatever it is. And I hope that if the gift of sport comes the way of your kids, that you encourage them to do it for all the right reasons and don't suggest stupid things that ruin something fantastic. There can be days like this morning where I wake up and I think, oh, I'm a bit sore, I'm a bit flat, I don't know if I'll go for a ride. But lately I've been saying to myself, but when you're rolling, life's good again. Like, I know even on mornings like today where I was just like, no, that heat from Saturday was getting to me, my body is a bit weary, legs are feeling stiff, don't go for a ride. I overcome that by telling myself, yeah, but once you're rolling, I don't have to race to have fun. I don't have to push myself to feel satisfied. I can just pedal and think and just begin the day in a more appropriate way than having a coffee and reading the newspaper. Cycling isn't just something you do in the days after Christmas. It's not just something that you do when you're on holiday. It's something that becomes a part of your life. At least it does if you're like me. I didn't begin the ride sort of thinking, oh, I'll make some kind of philosophical observation piece today. I just, my mind started wandering and I started thinking about that incident at the tennis, and I thought, well, why does that happen? And then that conversation ensued.